Now, rather than offering their own positive pro-growth agenda for America, the Democrats have gone really negative and really nasty. They casually hurl charges of racism at conservative targets, of course, including at the president himself.
Well, I think this country hasn't dealt well with the issues of race. I mean, we have a president who's a racist, we have...
Let me pause you there. That's just that you believe in his heart he's a racist.
Oh, I don't know what in his heart means.
Ohio must be really proud. Well, Trump is the first president to try to reverse the bleed of manufacturing jobs from Ohio, the old Rust Belt, and being called a racist is how he's repaid by Sherrod Brown. Well, of course, he's probably going to be joining the 2020 race, and so he has to join in with the rest of the race hucksters who are dividing America under the guise of tolerance. In their America, the wall is racist. Deporting illegals is racist. ICE is racist. Century-old monuments, they're racist. Assimilation, definitely racist. Requiring English to be spoken, absolutely racist. College Indian mascots, oh, they were way racist. Way beyond blackface, many costumes are now racist. But now liberals are in a huge pickle. How do they maintain the racial bona fides when one of their own governors cut loose during a med school Halloween party dressed like this? Well, of course, with the release of this image on Friday, the career of Virginia Governor Ralph Northam hangs in the balance. Now, initially, the Gov apologized.
I'm deeply sorry. I cannot change the decisions I made, but I accept responsibility for my past actions, and I am ready to do the hard work of regaining your trust.
But then at a press conference the next day, Northam was like, picture? What picture?
I am not the person in that photo. That same year, I did participate in a dance contest in San Antonio, in which I darkened my face as part of a Michael Jackson costume. I used just a little bit of shoe polish to put under on my cheeks. And the reason I used a very little bit is because I don't know if anybody's ever tried that, but you cannot get shoe polish off.
Oh, my God, Ed Gillespie lost to him? That's what I keep thinking, Washington, you've got to be kidding me. Now, Democrats, of course, moved to quickly jettison him, knowing he can become the Todd Aiken of the 2020 race.
First of all, I think that the governor should resign.
He should resign. I mean, there's just no question that he should resign.
So it's long past time for him to just step down.
He should step down and start his road to redemption.
Or at least becoming a vegan. Now, Nancy Pelosi, the Democratic National Committee, Kamala Harris, Kirsten Gillibrand, and Joe Biden all rushed out with statements demanding that Northam resign as well. The left now finds itself hoisted on its own petard. To satisfy their nutbag base, Democrats have set themselves up as these PC Puritans, a band of politically correct enforcers who traverse the culture, stamping out any and all who violate their ever-shifting ethical codes. So now everybody is walking on eggshells everywhere to avoid being called out for white privilege or gender privilege without the privilege of knowing what this new orthodoxy even requires. Ralph Northam's fate will ultimately be decided by Democrats in the Commonwealth, and Republicans would do well to avoid joining the PC Puritans of the left. Because the Democrats, they're tripping all over themselves to prove how enlightened they are by throwing even their own under the PC Express. I find it richly ironic that Joe Biden was one of the first to tweet out, "There is no place for racism in America. Governor Northam has lost all moral authority and should resign immediately." Well, the Democrat frontrunner in a new Iowa poll, of course, Biden has a lot of nerve. After all, this is a guy who said this of his own future running mate.
I mean, you got the first sort of mainstream African American who was articulate and bright and clean and a nice-looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook.
Clean. And who can forget this charming observation from Amtrak Joe?
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
The Washington Examiner has now dug up an NPR transcript from 1975 where Biden talks about his support for segregated schools. So is this disqualifying the new Democratic Party? Is Biden, after all these years, been in the Senate for all these years, vice president for 8 years, is he just a deep-seated racist incapable of running for president on the Democratic ticket? I think you all get the point. This is going in a bad direction for the Democrats and probably for the rest of us as well. But each time the Dems highlight the evolving purity of their party and reach into the past to convict someone today, they end up distancing themselves from America. Now, yesterday, it was MAGA hats that were racist. But today, anyone who ever impersonated Michael Jackson at a dance party might as well have burned a cross on someone's lawn. Former Democratic Congressman Jim Moran, a Northam defender, put it this way this weekend.
I think it is a rush to judgment before we know all of the facts and before we've considered all of the consequences. Even if the worst case scenario is true, George, I think there is an issue of redemption.
Oh, no, redemption, forgiveness, which was once only reserved for the left, is now unavailable for them, too. As we've seen with Kevin Hart, Al Franken, the PC Puritans get to decide who is orthodox and who is unclean. And they alone decide whom to burn at the stake. But don't be deceived. This whole effort is, in fact, a smokescreen, my friends. It's a party-wide effort to distract from the Democrats' real liability. I think their atrocious policies are what we should be focusing on. So everyone's locked on Northam's KKK costume mess, and it's a mess. Let's not forget how he came to national prominence last week. It was his abhorrent defense of the Democrats' abortion on demand at all stages agenda.
The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother.
Now, he's the one who needs to be resuscitated. The exposure of the grisly reality that the Democrats desire abortion even after birth has startled voters across the political spectrum, and it should. But suddenly, we're talking about 30-year-old pictures instead of a murderous policy that imperils the lives of thousands of children today? Republicans should not fall into this trap. Avoid the identity politics and the PC Puritans. Stick to the facts and to the issues. We win on those. Democrats are vulnerable on those. Most Americans are unaware, for instance, that when Democratic Governor Andrew Cuomo signed that law, I got the standing ovation, expanding abortion in New York last week, he simultaneously removed abortion from the state's criminal code. So now New York permits the abortion of a child beyond 24 weeks for essentially any reason. And infanticide is no longer illegal. Let the Democrats continue their witch hunts. The stocks in the town square will surely be full. Republicans should keep connecting with the rest of America who fear that come 2020, we could be heading off the rails of prosperity and towards socialism. And that's the angle.